How you doing today, folks? So this is being recorded after everything is said and done. So there's a lot of information in this video. I highly recommend everybody finish it. This is a pretty bad situation. It's a buyer beware situation. And there's a lot of information here that I genuinely think everyone should be aware of. If you happen to be interested in knives, custom knives, production knives, or the EDC community in general, please watch till the very end. There's plenty of stuff going on and you should all be aware of it. Thank you for your time.
How you doing today, folks? So I see a lot of videos talking about custom knives, right? But a lot of people don't seem to understand, or at the very least, they don't convey very well, that when you're buying a custom knife, you're not just buying the custom knife, you're buying the maker, you're buying the experience, you're buying the ability to make it your own. So this right here is a custom knife. This is the full custom, completely hand-done Homer Jew Pelican. And this video is not about this knife, but it's about a knife I'm getting made. Now, I contacted Dan Sullivan at DSK Tactical maybe a couple days ago. Today is the 26th of January. We've been talking for a little bit now, and I want to kind of go over that whole initial process with you guys, as well as kind of just as it goes along, because it's a constant communication. That's one thing people don't really seem to convey too well, is that you're going to talk to your maker probably hundreds of times over the period of this actual thing being done. And you're really going to have a piece that speaks to you and has every bit of flourish and touch that you want it to. Now, it's also balancing that, because at the end of the day, the maker is going to want to make what he wants to make, and he has a certain style, and he might not be willing to compromise that style for you, which is fine. For me personally, again, you're paying for the maker just as much as you are the knife. So me and Dan have been talking. First off, he's a fantastic guy, very nice, very humble, very knowledgeable. There's no ego at all with this man, which is crazy because he's very successful. He makes amazing knives. And most makers, honestly, they have a bit of an ego. Not all, and very few of them are really ever a problem. You know, people like Will Moon and stuff like that are an exception. But for the most part, you know, it's not really an issue. But Dan has no issues. He's a fantastic person. He's very busy. You can tell that much, but doesn't necessarily translate as disrespect. It's just you have to be respectful of his time. So I'm getting a deluxe model made from him, which is it's a tactical folder. It's a 4-inch or a 4.25-inch blade. It's a big knife, big, heavy, honking piece of titanium. Fantastic steel, CPM 154 steel, which is absolutely fantastic. But anyways, just understanding that and getting the idea from it and talking to him, and you voice your opinion, he ping pongs off of you, and you guys figure out exactly what will be this perfect marriage between what you want and what you actually want. Because everybody has this thing, you know, I want this knife to be this, that, and the other. But the bottom line is we're not all makers, and a lot of times your ideas, they sound good in your head, and once you actually get that piece in hand, you're going to hate it. So a good maker will be able to take your general ideas, make them better, and then improve upon them to be a functional piece of cutlery. And so far, Dan is absolutely that. I have absolutely no problems at all, no complaints at all. I'm really looking forward to this piece. He's actually even letting me pay it in a payment plan because, you know, the holidays are a crazy thing and I need to recuperate. So far, so absolutely fantastic. Big shout out to you, Dan. I'll be sure to forward this video to you when it's all over, and I've had the actual custom knife in hand for probably a couple of weeks at least. So as always, folks, I love you, and I will speak to you soon.
So I have a bit of an update on the whole DSK thing, right? So before we get into that, I wanted to, you know, just to tell a brief little situational piece, right? This is a custom knife. This is a custom knife that involves a maker and a customer ping-ponging different ideas in order to find what works to what makes each person happy. There's this beautiful, you know, back and forth of ping-ponging ideas. Some things will work, some things won't work, and you find some way to meet in the middle. And that's a good maker. You know, this is from Andrew Demko. He's a good maker. Now, when you pay for a custom knife, everybody wants to know, well, what's that $1,000 custom knife? Why is that better than a production? And the honest truth is it's not. You know, this is cool. Is it $800 cool? Is it $1,000 cool? $500 cool? Probably not. If you're just looking to cut something, you don't need all that. So, what makes a custom knife worth the custom knife price? My answer is two things. One, the maker. That person has a story. That person's life has been defined by a series of events, which have then defined that person. And all of that goes into the knife. All of that goes into that final piece. All of that goes into that final aspect of functional art that we choose to carry in our pockets every day over the period of years, which over time develops patina, develops wear, develops tear, and develops personality, to where your life and that person's life kind of meld together in a weird type of way, right? The other part is input. Now, a production knife gets released, right? You don't have any input in that. They make fucking thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them. They come out, you like them, you don't, you buy them or you don't. If you want to contact a maker like, Shepherd CC, for example, makes fantastic scales, you can. And you can give your own custom piece to it, right? And you're going to pay extra for it, and you're going to wait a long ass time. And that is the real difference. A custom knife, especially with a good maker, your ideas are there. Your input are there. Your opinion influences the final piece, which then makes it not only the maker's piece, but your piece. To where you're not only carrying the maker's art in your pocket, you're carrying your own art in your pocket, and it's fantastic. It really is an incredible thing. Now, Dan, we had a price down. We agreed on a certain type of finish. He said that finish was possible. It was an incredible finish. It looked like it was like a basically a nuclear holocaust knife. Like, this thing looks incredible. That perfect kind of aged, vintage, rustic ass patina with looks like a bomb dropped on it. Like, it was awesome. So he said that was possible. He showed me a previous knife that he had done that finish on. Hey, I can do this again. Okay, then later on he told me that, hey, I can't achieve this. That picture was photoshopped. That knife did not actually look like that. I lied, basically. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up. And it really kind of breaks my heart to record this video right now, because I don't want to damage anybody's career. I don't want anybody to be like to lose money off of me or their livelihood. It's just not what I'm interested in at all. But this is a problem. This is being dealt with directly by the maker. There is no middleman. This wasn't bought on the secondary market and I'm dealing with somebody else's problems. Now, this is direct from the maker. And he lied and photoshopped a piece and said he could do it. Now, he agreed to redo it and to try again, right? I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is going to keep on repeat until something actually happens or something else, or there's some type of communication, right? If you want to change your plans, you want to do something else or whatever, it's fine. Again, it's that back and forth, that ping pong, that dialogue, that meet in the middle, that beautifulness of dealing with a good maker. Right, but what happened is that he stripped it all off, allegedly. I've not seen pictures of it being stripped. Tried it again, said, this is good, and then shipped it off. So, I paid this man over $1,000 for this knife, and I have no fucking idea what I'm getting. He won't send me pictures of it. He won't tell me what it is. I have no idea. So now I'm left with a weird situation, right? I might get it in hand. It might be incredible. And it might be the crowning jewel of my collection, okay? But two of the value propositions of a custom knife factory aren't going to be there. Dan, from what I've seen, is a nice guy as long as everything goes according to plan. And if it doesn't, he's a bully. That's fucked up. So there's those two factors. There's one gone. I don't want that person on my knife if that's who they are. Here's the other one. That input, that opinion, that back and forth, that having your own piece is also gone. So now I'm left with spending $1,000 on a knife that I had no input on, and with a maker I don't particularly like. This sucks. I do want to make this very clear, though. I've dealt with maybe 30 or 40 makers over the years. I currently have 17 knives in my collection, 14 of which are completely one-off and handmade. I don't even post pictures of them. Those are just for me. The rest of the world does not need to know about them. I just hold them in my collection, I carry them, and I love them. But I've dealt with a whole bunch of makers, and this has happened 3 times. One, with fucking Will Moon, who most people know about, is a piece of shit. With Crusader Forge, who bullshitted me for a year and a half before sending something out to me that I did not pay for, and told me that, hey, this model's better. In the years after you paid for a specific model, that model is no longer being made. This is the upgraded version. Enjoy. It wasn't what I paid for. It was honestly a piece of shit. It sucks. And then the third, DSK. So, moral of the story is do a little bit more research, I guess. I hope I like the knife. I guarantee you I'm not going to like the price, because those 2 pieces that mean so much to me, they're not there. They're just never going to be there. This is how I view the situation now. And that just is what it is. But, yeah, I'm sad. I'm genuinely fucking sad. I was angry. I was really fucking angry, actually, and now I'm just sad. It sucks that this is what it comes down to. Oh well, 'tis life. I love you all, and I'll be back with one final update, and you all can see this beast. Hopefully it's great. Who knows? Alright, so one more brief little update. So it's been 3 days since the last one, and I've yet to receive shipping. I've asked for tracking information. The message was seen, but not actually read, or not she not responded to. I've tried calling him, I've tried texting him. So at this point in time, I have no idea if the knife's even actually been shipped, or if he's just trying to take my fucking money. This keeps on getting worse. Now, best case scenario was an oversight. Still a problem. Dealing with $1,000 package. That thing is not shipped with tracking and fully insured, signature confirmation, the whole 9. That's a problem. Because if it comes up missing or whatever, is he gonna want to cover $1,000 loss? No. Am I? No. That's why we insure things. So I have no idea what's going on now. I could be getting robbed for all I know. The required communication is not there, and it's a massive, massive problem. So at this point in time, as far as DSK Tactical, buyer beware. I'm going to give it 2 weeks from today. It'll be the middle of February, and if I don't receive the knife by then, tracking information or something, I'm going to have to file a claim. And that's not good. This could all have been very easily avoided. So, yeah. Keeps on going downhill. God damn it.
All right, folks. So we're going to start here. I have received the knife. I have not actually opened it yet. I'm going to do that on camera with you guys. So this is DSK's Acid Rain finish. When I originally contacted Dan, he mentioned a whole bunch of different finishes he has as an option, and this is the one I chose. This is the Acid Rain. Here is one of the shots of the knife that he was trying to send me. As you can see, they're polarly opposite between the two. Do it like this. So this is the one he was trying to send me. He said that this knife is the same as this knife. Now, as you can very clearly see, it's a night and day difference. Okay. When I mentioned that, he says this: I got to be honest with you. I'm not very confident in the fact that you really know what you want. Not being rude, but she got typo obviously. But you got to understand, I'm putting a lot of time into this knife just to have you have me redo something. Yeah, I want you to redo something, man. I want you to provide what you actually pay, what I paid for. You know, it's the service of a custom maker. Now, when I pointed this whole thing out, he specifies again that, just so you know, my finish is considerably changed with the Acid Rain. This is the same knife, 2 different pieces. This is a non-Photoshop picture, which he sent me later. And this is a Photoshopped version of it, which is obviously very, very different. Another piece here is we have, I'm working with you a lot, basically. Doing things which is more than I do for anybody. So let me get this straight, folks. You're a custom maker. Your whole point is to have the customer voice what they want. You kind of have a back and forth to figure out what is actually plausible and feasible, but that becomes too much to ask for. Now for me personally, I didn't really ask for anything crazy. You said you could do that finish, so that's awesome. For the blade, I wanted a very, very light stone wash. I hate the grayscale blades, but I also don't like a satin blade because I actually use my stuff and it gets scratched too easy. Now, this is my message to him. He tells me this big long story about how that, there's the whole custom knives, excuse me. Custom knives aren't the same thing as factory knives because they have differences to them, right? So here's my response. I own 17 custom knives currently, 12 of which are direct from makers and designed from the ground up. The other 4 were built off of pre-existing models similar to the deluxe model in question. When using flame, acid, or even general anno, slight differences are to be expected. However, these differences are not slight, and you said so yourself that the model you sent me was photoshopped. You did not explain that the finish can vary considerably, and you also did not state that this was a maker's choice scenario. These things were not communicated, and there is the problem. Maker's choice is definitely a thing, but I don't really go for that. I like to have a mixture of my opinion as well as the maker's opinion type of thing, but at the same time, this wasn't a maker's choice knife. It never was. If it was, and I knew that's what it was going into it, not really an option or not really a problem. But that wasn't the case. It's not what I paid for. So, those 2 pictures I showed you previously, this is what he has said to them. The finish on it is extraordinarily close to the acid rain of the original picture. Trust me. Again, original picture. Is this close to you guys? It is an absolute night and day difference, okay? Now, if Dan was like, you know what, I want to make a one-off piece, I don't want things to be similar, I want, to do my own thing or whatever, and these are fine. I can work with these things. This isn't necessarily a problem. The dishonesty is where it becomes a problem. The constant justification to why I am wrong and you are right, basically. It's really unfortunate. I'm actually a pretty big fan of DSK stuff, but this is what it is. So this is another one of my messages. So what finishes can you accurately repeat? Because I love your work, man, but that's not what you showed me and it's not what I paid for. I really wish you would have told me that the original acid rain finished picture you sent me was photoshopped. Now here's a particularly dirty one. Or the best thing for me to do is probably button up this knife, send it out to you, let you have it, and see if it wears on you. And if you like it, to keep it, then cool. If not, you can go ahead and sell it, obviously. And here's the simple truth of the matter. If I sold it, I wouldn't get what I paid for it, man. I would take a major hit and you know it, which he does. So are you telling me that it's either this or nothing? Now, there's a maker famous for doing stuff like this. His name is Will Moon. You have a series of things that you want done to your knife. You pay for them. Your payment is already processed. Everything else is already done. Everything you can do is taken care of. And said maker decides to do whatever the hell they want to. And if you don't like it, well, sell it. I don't offer refunds. Excuse me? Now, here is when we decided to try again. After a whole bunch of prodding, which I'm actually not going to photograph here. It just doesn't matter. It's honestly more drama than I honestly would care to post out here. There's more stuff that goes on than just this, but this is stuff that I feel is necessary. Anyways, so he mentions redoing the finish. And he says it'll get darker, more bronze. More bronze is fine. Honestly, if you can get it as close to the other one as possible, that would be ideal. Again, I know what I want. I want what I paid for. I want what we already talked about a month and a half ago. Probably won't happen, but I'll try. This is how much I paid for this knife. Not a small sum. And here is where he is admitting that this original piece, this is photoshopped. Again, if you want to use a filter for Instagram or something like that, there is nothing wrong with that, man. But if you want to directly Photoshop a picture to where it fits a certain criteria and a certain style to it, and then not immediately admit that you did so when you are talking to your customer, that is so incredibly ugly. Now, long story short, I didn't even get tracking for this knife. He sent it to me, told me to deal with it, or again, I can sell it. Now, you guys saw what it was supposed to look like, right? The finish. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that's about what I expected. Does this look even similar? I mean, even remotely similar to what was originally agreed upon? To my mind, no. There looks to be some very slight flaming over here. There's some muddy, kind of ugly discoloration on these scales right here. That's about it. So, again, I have others of Dan's knives. I actually love this little javelina, and I wanted very much to be happy with this purchase. I'm not. I'm really not. I actually love these frag scales. You know, the mill work is done very well. Let's test the action. The action's all right. Not fantastic, but it's all right. The blade is very cool, and oh yeah. So that is definitely not a light stone wash. That is a pretty damn heavy stone wash, which is also not what I paid for. Okay. So if you contact a maker and if you tell them exactly what you want, right, and there is no back and forth dialogue, there's just, all right, got it, I'll get it done. And you don't. Or excuse me, and the maker does not. The maker does whatever the hell they choose to do, which is called maker's choice, but they do not tell you about it. They do not inform you about it. You're not told that from the absolute get-go. That is such an incredible problem and such a very ugly thing. And again, if I don't like the knife, oh yeah, just sell it. I paid you $1,000, Dan. Well, I paid you technically $1,050, and which is more. I mean, I gave him a tip, which is more than, you know, it's a lot. And you buy a custom knife to have your custom touches on it and to have it the way you want it. Is this knife terrible? No. Is it the most hideous thing ever? No. Is it what I paid for? Absolutely not. This is a whole lot of ugly in this whole situation. Also, I paid for a clip. That's the original clip that was rattling around in the box. The clip's supposed to match the scales in terms of the actual like stone washing and everything else. This one would have. This one's actually stone washed. It obviously would match it just fine. This is a satin clip. It's titanium, but it's a satin clip. Every chance this man has to redeem himself and to do literally anything according to the customer, he fails at it. Now, I want to make this very clear to everybody still watching. If you see a picture of a DSK on one of their knives for sale, right? They have great action. They're definitely heavy, overbuilt folders. I really genuinely love this javelina. It's a fantastic knife. There's nothing inherently wrong with the knives. If the aesthetic of what they are appeals to you, by all means, go for it. Dan is definitely a talented man. The problem is that if you actually want to go about getting a one-off custom that fits your criteria and what you want, you can expect lies, delays, dishonesty, and finally, if you don't like it, just sell it. That is so beyond not okay. In this community, in any community, in any retail service or anything like that of the sort, it's just ugly. Just really, really ugly. This knife will go up for sale. I will take a loss on it. I will probably sell my other DSKs because, again, the three criteria to me for a custom knife maker are the maker, the knife itself, and man, I don't even want to talk anymore. I mentioned it in the other part of the video, so you guys know. I'm gonna get out of here now. I really hate to badmouth makers. I hate to badmouth anybody. I always preach about love and acceptance and forgiveness on this channel, and I very much try to represent that. But here we are. If you want to purchase a custom knife from DSK, at the very, very least, buyer be extremely aware. Thank you for your time.